Welcome! Today, we're unpacking a truly fascinating and honestly profound biological shift. You know that moment we cross the invisible threshold of our 50th year? Well, our bodies begin this silent, incredibly complex metamorphosis. So we're diving into an explainer of the cutting-edge science behind what's widely celebrated as Saúde 50 mais, or health over 50. And listen, this isn't about those gimmicky anti-aging myths. It's about completely redefining your biological potential. The source material we're looking at today provides an incredible roadmap for this transition, digging deep into how our bodies process energy, repair tissue, and interact with the world once we hit the big 50. So if you're ready to look at longevity through a totally new lens, you are in exactly the right place.
Let's start by directly addressing a super common feeling. Is physical decline after 50 inevitable? Look, if you're over 50, you've probably noticed that the energy levels that once seemed literally inexhaustible have kind of started to wane. Maybe your recovery from minor tweaks takes a bit longer, your sleep isn't quite as deep, or you're seeing changes in your body composition that just flat out ignore the diets you relied on back in your 30s. Hey, your changing physiology is real, and that fatigue, it's totally valid. But here is the major paradigm shift. We have to challenge the assumption that aging is this permanent, inevitable downward spiral. As you'll see, your biological clock is surprisingly plastic. This decline isn't some fixed law of nature. Actually, it's a massive opportunity for a highly sophisticated recalibration.
Section 1, the age 50 metamorphosis. Okay, let's dive into this.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this number right here, 3 to 5%. That is the staggering amount of muscle mass the average adult loses every single decade after turning 30. And the harsh reality, this rate accelerates significantly the second you cross that 50-year mark. To truly understand how to reverse this and boost physical health after 50, we've got to completely re-examine the body's internal architecture. We're stepping into the realm of cellular biology and metabolic efficiency here. The strategies that kept you fit in your 20s, they're simply not going to cut it anymore. Why? Because the very foundation of how your body partitions nutrients and repairs wear and tear has fundamentally changed. And this isn't just about losing a toned look. Muscle is literally your body's primary metabolic engine. When we lose it, it triggers this massive cascade of physiological consequences that go way beyond aesthetics, actively threatening our structural integrity and overall metabolic health.
Section 2, battling sarcopenia and inflammation. So the crucial point is that the biological decline we often associate with getting older is actually in many ways an environmental mismatch. Think about it. Our bodies are evolutionary machines built for physical challenge and nutrient density, things our modern sit-at-a-desk lifestyles rarely give us. This brings us to a central battle against a major villain of aging, sarcopenia. Because muscle is the largest endocrine organ in your body, losing it absolutely tanks your basal metabolic rate. If you've noticed weight management becoming incredibly frustrating lately, this is exactly why. It's not a lack of willpower, I promise you. It's a drop in your metabolic engine. And that leads directly to the accumulation of visceral fat, which is metabolically active and highly pro-inflammatory. So you end up trapped in this vicious cycle. Less muscle leads to less activity, which leads to more fat storage, which creates more inflammation, and boom, that just further accelerates the muscle loss.
And that systemic inflammation actually has a name: inflammaging. Researchers use this term to describe the chronic, low-grade systemic fire that really characterizes the aging process. It basically keeps your immune system stuck in a state of perpetual high alert, constantly exhausting your cellular resources. But here is the genuinely empowering part. You don't just have to survive this. You are absolutely not destined to just burn out. This systemic fire can be dampened, but it requires highly specific, deliberate lifestyle interventions, not just generic health advice. We have to extinguish the fire right at the cellular level.
Section 3, overcoming anabolic resistance. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why the routines from our youth no longer produce the same results. You know why a workout that used to make you strong and now just leaves you with lingering, annoying soreness? It all comes down to anabolic resistance. Back in your 20s, a light meal or a quick gym session easily stimulated the mTOR pathway. That's your cell's primary switch for growth. But in a 50-plus body, that threshold absolutely skyrockets. Your older body literally becomes resistant to the signals that normally trigger muscle growth. You can't just eat some protein anymore. Nope. You require a much stronger nutritional signal, specifically a precise, concentrated bolus of high-quality amino acids, particularly leucine, to forcefully flip that metabolic switch from tissue breakdown back to tissue buildup. This requires a total mental shift. Food is not just fuel, everyone. It is biological information. Literally every single meal you eat is a signal sent straight to your DNA. With every bite, you are either providing the specific chemical triggers telling your body to preserve tissue via that mTOR pathway, or you're basically telling it to let that tissue wither away. In your 50s, every meal becomes a deliberate strategic event designed to hack your own biology.
Section 4. Rebooting cellular powerhouses. Let's move to Mito and see how this builds, shifting our focus from the muscles to the microscopic energy factories that actually keep your entire system running.
If you're feeling that deep, lingering fatigue we talked about, you're likely experiencing a biochemical crisis of energy production right down at the microscopic level. You see, as we age, our mitochondria, those cellular powerhouses producing ATP, which is our body's energy currency, they become damaged or leaky. Overcoming this kind of exhaustion requires two key things. First, mitophagy, which is basically clearing out all those dead, damaged cells. And second, mitochondrial biogenesis, which is the spawning of fresh, highly efficient mitochondria. This is where it gets super exciting. How do we clean house and rebuild the energy grid? Through specialized, controlled stressors. We're talking about high-intensity interval training and highly strategic aerobic work. We literally have to push the system to its upper limits to force it to adapt and thrive.
And it's not just our energy grids that need structural loading, it's our actual physical scaffolding. Our source highlights Wolff's Law. Now, this is the scientific principle that bone tissue adapts, remodels, and strengthens in direct response to the mechanical loads placed on it. Meaning, osteopenia and osteoporosis, they are not inevitable. To avoid them, we absolutely must engage in heavy axial loading. We're talking about compound movements like squats, deadlifts, and overhead presses. You literally have to force your body to deposit minerals back into the bone matrix. Let me be clear, weight-bearing exercise isn't just optional after 50, it is a pharmaceutical-grade intervention.
Section 5. The Blueprint for Vitality. Let's look at your action plan.
All right, we've identified the biological hurdles, sarcopenia, inflammaging, anabolic resistance, and mitochondrial decay. Now let's look at the actionable, science-backed solutions to rewrite your aging blueprint. Step 1 is heavy resistance training. The goal here is to recruit those type 2 fast-twitch muscle fibers, the ones responsible for power and preventing falls, which unfortunately atrophy the fastest as we age. Interestingly enough, the source notes that our brain often imposes a false, self-limiting ceiling out of a fear of injury. We have to overcome that mental block through controlled mechanical tension. Step 2 is protein synthesis optimization, ensuring you consistently hit that leucine threshold we just discussed. And step 3 is hormonal and mitochondrial recovery, really prioritizing your internal environment to make sure your body actually responds to all this hard work. Translating all of that into daily habits, we have these essential lifestyle pillars. You need zone 2 cardio mixed with high-intensity intervals to keep those mitochondria happy, compound lifts to leverage Wolff's Law for bone density. Nutritionally, we're looking at polyphenols, omega-3s, and fermented foods to cool off those inflammatory fires and really support the gut-brain axis. And finally, deep REM sleep. Guys, this is totally non-negotiable. It's during deep sleep that the glymphatic system literally flushes metabolic waste right out of your brain. It's like a nightly power wash for your neurons. Now, to bridge the gap between these biological theories and your practical daily application, the source material heavily emphasizes an external resource they refer to as the Vitality Protocol. The authors strongly recommend this linked roadmap as the next practical step if you're seeking a highly structured, personalized application of these advanced interventions, particularly when it comes to specific nutritional and supplemental protocols to overcome those age-related bottlenecks. We're neutrally reporting this here as it forms a pretty major call to action within the original text for anyone wanting to take this science directly into their own hands. We're going to leave you with this really powerful thought, directly inspired by our source. You are the architect of your own biological aging, and the blueprints are being rewritten by every choice we make. I absolutely love that. You are not just some victim of your chronological years, you are the active steward of your biology. This 50-plus physiology isn't some roadblock. It's actually a map to a second peak of physical capability. So think about it. What biological signals are you going to send your body today?